Righto, Taliated champs, and let's see if the XPS 179700 is the ultimate content creation device. First, let's get stuck into that display. Yes, that display is awesome. Have a look on that laptop. It is all display 17-incher. And yes, measures 500 nits of brightness, well, virtually 498. 100% Adobe RGB, wide color gamut. It is amazing, this display. And by the way, the XPS 15 would only measure around 80% Adobe RGB, so I reckon I got a dud with that one. But this one is amazing, and why I say it's one of the best displays is the brightness, 500 nits, the color gamut. It is OLED-like. It's the closest thing you're going to get to OLED. Of course, it's not going to have the contrast of OLED, but I do prefer LED displays. That's just my preference. But why I think it's probably better than the MacBook Pro display is, although I think the MacBook Pro display is probably calibrated better out of the box, this one is bigger. So bigger is always better when it comes to displays. Also, it's 4K or 4K plus, so it's super sharp. Now the MacBook Pro 16 gets the bonus of better battery life because it has a lower resolution display. So I guess it's all a trade-off. What do you prefer? Sharper 4K or better battery life and a lower res? But it's one of the better displays. Let's get into audio production. So we're looking now in Ableton, and I got to tell you now, you audio guys, these are like cool dudes. I'd love to learn how to produce music. I have no qualms admitting I am way out of my depth when it comes to this audio DAW stuff, so I apologize for that. But yeah, this is a real world project. Ableton Live plays back no problem. So what I done is I just copied one of the synths and just copied and pasted it for 70 tracks. And actually, it's really interesting because I have the 6-core version. So I have the 10750H, which is a 6-core processor, i7, and a 1650 Ti. Interestingly, it actually uses Intel HD as well when you actually play back this footage. Did I say footage, music, or whatever you want to say? But when I hit that bit with the 70 tracks, the 70 synths all lined up, wow, yes. I started adding them like 10 by 10 and it would go up from, 20% to 30, 40, 50, 60, 70% CPU usage. And yes, with this 70 tracks, it's pretty much, this is 100% CPU usage. So if you're going to do about 70 tracks, the 6-core is fine, 16 gigs RAM is fine, although it's, it's on the limit there. But if you want to go beyond 70 tracks, I would suggest you get the 8-core and 32 gigs RAM because it's using 100% with 70 tracks. And yeah, you'll hear the fan come on. It's working hard to do that. But from what I could tell, it was playing back those 70 tracks fine, so awesome. All right, so let me set the scene for you. Plugged into USB-C into my Alturio Audio Fuse, and this is the best audio interface. I've got to tell you, I use my Focusrites and stuff, and yeah, I love this thing here. Anyway, 32 size buffer, 48 kilohertz. Now let's go here, and as you can see, I'm recording. So you can see there we're getting spikes into the red, which apparently is no good, but it looks okay. If you have a look here at my audio, it looks pretty instant. Now this is 32 buffer size. That's just to sync my audio, sorry. So this is 32 size buffer, and as you see there, it looks like it's going instantly. So look, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's instant to me. Okay, so this is plugged in, but I'm losing charge and I'm not even doing nothing. So it was 95% before, now it's dropped down to 90, even though it's plugged in. It says it's plugged in. And that's because this is not doing the handshake. So the easiest way to reset that is just to pull it out and then obviously put it back in again. If I can find the hole. Oh, fellas, can I find the hole? Yep, found the hole. Yep. And that'll reset it. It should reset it, and it still should start charging now. But this is an issue. Hopefully that'll be addressed in BIOS, etc. Some people have said that they get a new unit and this doesn't happen. So maybe you have to get your unit replaced. But anyway, just letting you know. Okay, literally filming this like 1 minute later and already charging. So yeah, that reset it. Just that made the handshake happen. But sometimes it just randomly stops charging or giving charge, and then it will drain the battery even though it says it's plugged in. So yeah. So some other funny things, I plug in my USB SSD and it just won't detect at all. I plug a Thunderbolt controller or Thunderbolt dock into the XPS 17, and then I plug the SSD into that Thunderbolt device and it shows up. I think they need a firmware update on those Thunderbolt controllers there. It doesn't concern me at all. You know, they've got good warranties. They'll change it out. They'll swap you a new unit, or they'll get someone to look at it. I have heard people get new units and they've been fine. So, you know, whether it needs a BIOS update, a firmware update for the Thunderbolt controllers, who knows? But certainly here in Australia, if something's not fit for purpose, you just return it. You get a new one or you get your money back. So let's get into content creation, and you can see flashed up here all the benchmarks. And what I'll say is someone said, oh, the 1650 version doesn't have a vapor chamber. Well, I had a look inside. It looks like a vapor chamber to me. I might be mistaken, but I think that is a vapor chamber. Doesn't look like heat pipes. I will have advanced setup and how to upgrade these laptops coming very soon. So what you can see here is even though it has the same specs as the XPS 15, so 1650 Ti, 16 gigs RAM and the 10750H, in a lot of the tests it's faster. That's because this can sustain about 85 watts, whereas the XPS 15 is about 65 watts, currently how it's power limited. And 4K content, it just laughs at it. The scrubbing is super smooth, even with, you know, color correction or color grading with the LUT, etc. Just 4K just laughs at. Even 6K or playback 6K and 6K with color correction as well, which, you know, Ryzen systems struggle with. You need that Intel HD still. It is a beast of a content creation machine. The display, you know, this thing's going to be amazing with 8 cores and the 2060. That's the version to get here. You know, I have no choice. This is the one they sent me. But I've got to say, compared to the XPS 15 and this one, I reckon maybe the XPS 17. The bigger displays got me, the more sustained power it can do, you know, 85 versus 65, and probably 10 watts more than, say, the MacBook Pro 16 as well, and a 2060 graphics card, RTX graphics card too, so that should be good. Now, the Mac does have a killer GPU. Do remember that. That 5600M is amazing. And what for what? Yeah, I reckon it beats any graphics card. It's going to be an interesting shootout between the two. Certainly you can see already that this gets just an advantage using that vapor chamber and those extra watts it can sustain over the XPS 15. You do have the weight penalty though, and I guess footprint and size penalty. If those things are okay, you get the 17. If you want the compactness, the lightness, you go with the XPS 15. Also, you get 2 extra Thunderbolt 3s on this one here. So the 17 I'm talking about. So anyway, it's going to be a beast for content creation. Yeah, catch you in the next one, guys. Tally ho.